Hello everyone, this is Mike from Dimensional Walking. And today we're going to talk about, the title is a question. And the question is synchronicity an alien gift? Or as I like to call it, a true force, true life force. So synchronicity is probably one of my most favorite subjects that I like to think about and I like to talk about. I haven't done too much here on the channel with it yet. Um, I will tell you that I did do a pretty extensive video on the synchronicities I had with the Montauk project, and you can go to our channel, Dimensional Walking, a Paranormal Journey, and you can find that particular one. I think it's called Montauk Synchronicities, blah blah blah. So, I think you'll enjoy that. That was really some heavy stuff that I went through for about 10 years. But anyways, so many times during my when I would be with abductees or contactees, the events called synchronicity would come up, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So, so let's do a little bit of a background here. Let's start with Carl Jung. Um, he did some of the initial work on synchronicity, and he studied it. He wrote a book on it, and he actually coined the word synchronicity. Um, and he said that synchronicity represented the coincidence of two or more events where something other than probability of chance is involved. And he called it beyond probability. Uh, this is a kind of harmony at work in an interaction between psychic and physical events. And Jung said connecting principles were like linking mind and matter together. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. These are kind of based a little bit on some personal experiences I had, but I kind of went between personal and fictional to give you a little bit of an idea how it can work in our day-to-day life. So if you and your partner have relocated to a city, uh, a new city, let's just say, and time goes on and you're having issues with your partner and you don't much like the new city either, um, maybe after a verbal confrontation with your partner, you go on a walk, okay? And during this walk, a dead bird falls from the sky and it lands at your feet. This is probably a sign from the universe that probably you need to make some changes. And the event happens typically these events sometimes start happening during unsettled events in your personal life. And these are like a sign, I call them synchronistic sign. And note there will be more than one event. Typically there are three events. At least it's happened to me that way. So kind of look for events that are kind of connected together and they're related to some other event in your life. Okay, so keep an eye on for that. So that, yeah, I'll give you another example. Let's say you're putting off doing a school project. Say, for instance, a project on Australia. Okay, and you've been thinking about for weeks. You've been putting it off. You don't want to do it, but you know you have to do it, and time is running out. Okay, then suddenly a synchronistic sign happens. In fact, there's a bunch of them. You start seeing things related to Australia, advertising, consumer products, books jump off the shelf at you, and suddenly you see Nicole Kidman uh, at the box office. She did a movie. Um, so, anyways, you really get ready to start. Now you're kickstarted. The synchronistic events have kickstarted your project, and it seems like you get it done flawlessly, quickly, efficiently, and you're in something related to synchronicity. It's called the flow. Okay, the flow happens uh, when you look for synchronistic events, or you at least recognize their existence. And once you have, these events will start putting you into something I call the flow. I probably would like to do a complete another video sometimes about the flow, because the flow is amazing. I've been in the flow probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and it is beyond anything. It's everything goes right, and it flows very quickly. It's kind of always reminded me of when you're at a water park or something. You're in one of these kind of log rides where you're rushing down. You're going in a direction, and you can only go in one direction, and you go very quickly because you can't get out. I mean, that's it. You're going. You're moving, and that's what I call it. That's what I call is the flow. So, anyways, that's that. So next, let's keep on going. So again, the key to all this is paying attention. Okay. Now, the synchronicity of the universe will only give you a limited amount of clues. Okay. And you want to pay attention. If you don't pay attention, it'll stop. It will definitely stop. And that'll stop the flow, or even stop the flow from even developing. Okay? So I can also tell you this direction uh, you're going in. I don't really know if it's always good or it's right. Uh, the synchronistic process taps into the quantum level of the universe. Your mind, your thoughts affect matter. It throws out a web of energy of subparticles that grab other subparticles and pull them towards you. This helps create your reality, and at times it will actually complete or create dreams. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I believe everybody has experienced synchronistic events in their lives. Um, I would say probably, I'm just going to throw a number out, 95% of the people have these events. Uh, but again, the vast majority do not pay attention to them. Okay? So I talk about confirmation of these events. And there is this energy, this entity, and I'm going to call it alien, that is sending us these signals to look or move in a particular direction in our lives. Strangely, we have a choice to look and try to understand it and and decide to follow it. Most people, that 95% I talk about, most people do not follow it. Okay? The second possibility, that was the first confirmation. The second possibility is the understanding of this phenomena is related to a very powerful human trait. And this trait it takes place in our subconscious mind, which is this particular department or part of our subconscious mind is very independent. And it basically it's more on the right side of our mind. However, as we all know, the left side is really the master decider or master controller. Okay? So, however, the left side can be made, the right side can make the left side pay attention. Usually it's only for a few minutes. Okay? If you know what I mean. It's only a few minutes. So that is the time in which basically the right side of the brain has to convince the left side that we need to pay attention to synchronicity. Because otherwise the left side will just pass over it. Okay? So that's why it's so important to pay attention to these. At least give it a couple minutes. And maybe you can sway the left side of the brain to say, yes, this seems to be important. I better pay attention to this. Okay? So the 95% of people I talked about that have these events, sometimes they have them, and many people have them, several times a week, but most of them don't pay attention to it, right? One of the main reasons why they don't want to pay attention to it or are reluctant to is because of fear. And it's basically fear of the unknown, fear that you don't know who the sender is of these synchronistic movements. You don't know if they're from a dark source. So I think there's that that whole kind of fear factor built in here. We may never know actually where the synchronistic uh, uh, flow, this synchronistic energy comes from. We just may not. But they're definitely a compass of the universe in trying to give us something. And it may be coming from aliens. I don't really know. I think they are. I think you're. And one of the reasons I think they are is because in the research I've done, and I have interviewed probably over 1,500 contactees and abductees. Most of them talk about these synchronistic events. And most of them talk about these synchronistic events after they've had some type of encounter or abduction. Abduction, encounter, contact, whatever you want to call it. They seem that the alien adventure, or whatever you want to call it, opens the door to synchronicities. It happened to me. Again, the Montauk thing, Project Montauk synchronicities that I write about and also did a video on, that happened, I believe, after some type of contact or abduction I had in the past. So, anyways, I hope that at least this video made you interested in synchronicities. It's a very powerful force. It's a very powerful life force. I think you should probably try to read a book or get some more information about it and draw and make your own opinion about it. But it is quite amazing. It really, really is. And that's it. So with that said, we would like you to like us. If you do, we'd like you to comment. If you want to send any private emails to us, you can send it at dementiawalking@gmail.com. And that's about it. So until we meet again, as Roy Rogers said, happy trails. Bye-bye.